So for the grouting stage you'll need a number of items. Firstly, you'll need some grout. I usually use a wall and tile grout, one that you'd use for like the bathroom. You'll also need 2 containers that you're not worried about getting ruined, one for the water and one for the grout. You also need a paintbrush that you don't mind getting ruined, because grout will maybe ruin it if it's not washed off properly. You will definitely, I would suggest, use plastic gloves, because this gets really messy. Make sure you put lots of paper down so you don't ruin any furniture. And an optional thing you can use is acrylic paint. I add a little bit of paint to the grout just to give it a tint of colour so I can see where I've been when I'm applying it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is put on your gloves, because this just gets really messy. These are way too big for me, but I have to do. So I don't tend to make up too much grout all at once, because sometimes it just dries, the bottom part dries, and so I just do maybe section by section, and I'm going to start off with the roof. I'm also going to add a little bit of paint. For this layer I'm using a yellow paint. You don't want anything too dark really, that will like interfere with the final piece. And this, in my case, will fade a lot because it's mixing with white, but this is just optional. It definitely helps when you do other layers to see where you have last been. Okay, so I'm done with the first layer of grout. Remember, you have to do outside, inside and upside down, so everything has to be covered. I have found there's quite a few things that are a little bit loose. Usually they're like the little panel things, the windows and so on. So I'm just hoping the grout will keep that all in place. You should do about 2 or 3 layers of this. And yeah, just keep on adding the layers and it'll go from this to this. So this grouting job has been a lot harder to do on a house than it was on the rock project that I did before. One big issue was all the little gaps between the walls. Obviously they weren't as flat as I would have liked, because when you cut into polystyrene it does kind of break up a bit. So what I did for things like that is I made the grout a lot thicker, and then I went in with a thinner brush and tried to fill in the gaps. The only a few problems with it, you don't really want gaps like this, but if you cover them too much you lose the definition in the tiles on the roof, and that's sort of what happened with the bricks. I think I went a little bit too thick with the grout on the bricks, so I've lost a bit of definition, but I'm hoping to go back with paint and sort that out. Before I paint though, I am going to quickly do this, and this is completely optional, but I thought this would look a little bit nice on my design and just add a little bit to it. I'm going to add just around the chimney area a sort of plant look, like it's growing up the chimney. If you've ever seen the film Tangled, which I love that the tower that she's in has these like plants growing up it, so that's sort of what I wanted to recreate here. I've also added some sort of texture on the front of the house, as it was quite plain because it didn't have the wooden pieces on, so we've just got some plants coming down here, here and in this corner. So now what we're going to do is wait for that to dry, and then I can start painting. Okay, for the painting, firstly I've mixed up yellow, brown and white, because this is going to sort of be the base colour of the walls, and I'm using a bigger brush because it doesn't really matter where it goes too much at the moment, because this is, like, as I said, like the first layer. I may make this a little lighter after this layer. I'm not particularly neat at the moment because I still got to do all the lines and everything. By the way, sorry if you can hear all the fireworks in the background because it's like bonfire night here. Also, I have started to do grey down the bottom. It looks a lot darker on the camera. But what I'm going to go and do now is use a dry brush technique and add some white to it, which should lighten it up. Okay, this is what it looks like now I've done the white dry brush. I will go back with a darker colour just to make these bricks pop out even more. But now, to show you what I've done with the roof. Now the roof isn't finished. Now I know what you're thinking. Are you colourblind? No. So, as you may or may not know, I really love the film Tangled. And originally, as I said, it's going to be like a medieval fairy tale roof. Now I did try with a more natural look, but I didn't really like it. And then I was watching Tangled and I thought, purple. The colour of that film is purple. So, this is the first layer of the roof. I am going to add all different shades of purple, possibly grey. Okay, so I've added all the different shades and also the yellow, because if you think about it in the film, there's the lanterns. So I'm going to wait for that to dry. I might add a slightly darker colour to make the tiles pop out a bit more. But now I'm going to focus my attention on making some plants grow up the side. Okay, so the plants have been added on. I've redefined the bricks along the bottom. I still got to properly paint the chimney top. And I've also coloured in the windows black, the ones that don't go all the way through. I think the next step is to do the wooden panels all around, and I'm going to do that in a dark brown colour, I think.